Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 956 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined today by the usual crew. This crew is good. To quote Heat, I got Ben Funky Askren here. I got James Dean Rader. And I got no Shane Sparks by law, as required by Ben. It's in his contract. He can pull the plug on Shane whenever he wants, and he pulled it. He pulled it.
That's funny.
He even got him a job broadcasting at the University of Utah for some football game in order to keep him off the show.
Beautiful out there in Utah. He's going to love it. He might be the next Mormon woman and never come back.
Man, can you imagine? He's going to see the mountains. He's like, man, I can't wait to hear what he thinks about Utah because I think he's going to love it. Because he generally loves most things. He can find the good in a lot of things.
Yes,
except
that's
for
very
like
true.
Except for like 3 points.
See if he can find the good in this, Christian. Gable's pulling out of Worlds. He's going to wrestle in the NCAA season allegedly. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I wish I got to make some decisions because listen, I know he can beat the guys at the NCAA. We've already seen that many times. I want to go see him win Worlds. That might be a challenge against Zare or some of these other guys. I think Gable's a favorite, but I want to see it.
Do you not like it more because you don't get to watch him wrestle, or also because of just how it went down, kind of really late in the game, and he makes the team and then just doesn't do it?
Well, yeah, but I want to see him in a challenge. I want to see him in a challenging situation. I thought if he was the favorite at the U.S. Open and the trials, it would have been a really big favorite. At the NCAAs, he's even a bigger favorite. I mean, he's such a big favorite. I'm not even gonna bet on it because I'm not gonna bet $20,000 to win $20, or whatever it is.
Faith in the great American
he's
hero.
still the favorite, but you could see him losing to some of those guys, and I want to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so it's been swirling for a bit now, but Gable not doing the World Championships. It's going to be Mason Paris. Pretty late in the game. Although this is something that happened last year with D'Angelo Hancock. Pretty late in the game, he's like, "No, I'm going to WWE." And now Gable, you presume this is WWE related, if I had to guess. And you could say, well, is this Gable's decision? Is it WWE's decision? What was it? Because I don't know.
I got to assume that the WWE has something in the contract where they get rights over kind of like he has to ask permission to do things. I know my UFC contract was that way. So like when I wanted to do Beat the Streets, I had to say, hey guys, can I do this? And they said, yeah, no problem. Most of the time it's not an issue, but I assume that's in a similar situation with this contract.
Yeah, and there's also a difference between, all right, I'm going away for the weekend to wrestle Final X in the U.S. Open, and I'm going to miss 2 to 3 weeks of training because I'm in Europe. And maybe that was the thing, and maybe they plan on using him during the time he would be overseas. The weird thing is, I don't think he's made a WWE appearance since that July 4th one that he did. Huh. So, I don't know what to make of that. I'm no.
Yeah.
WWE insider.
The one where my head went right away was the NCAAs will be significantly more watched, right, by everyone, and then there's almost a guarantee he's going to win. So that's easy press for the WWE, and now especially they're owned by Endeavor, who owns the UFC. Also, ESPN and the UFC have a deal, so there's kind of like a lot of mutually beneficial things there. You get him on this big stage at the NCAAs, whereas at Worlds, the viewership probably won't be nearly as high, and there's a chance he loses. Right?
Yes.
That's not a great look.
Yep, all true. All very true. So, obviously disappointing, and obviously for Team USA, not good, because now...
Yes, not good.
No matter, even though there was a question, hey, how well is Gable going to do? There's no scenario where we're like, he could be outside the top 5, right? We feel certain that's going to happen. Now with Mason Paris, that's an absolute question. Now he's good enough to medal. I think we all believe and agree with that. But there's a difference between medaling and that's going to be tough. And then being top 5 is no gimme either. And he's going to be drawn in. He's not going to have any seeding criteria. So that's a wild game. And the reason top 5, I didn't mention this, but most of you know, but you have to be top 5 to qualify the weight for the Olympic Games. And if you don't qualify it here, we'll probably do it at Pan Am's, but there's no guarantees. So this decision has, potentially longer lasting effects beyond the World Championships. And we're trying to qualify weights for, this is the most important World Championships there are of the year. And we've got a first-timer in Zane Richards, a first-timer in Nick Lee, a first-timer in Mason Paris at 3 Olympic weights, right? That is, we've got Dake, Taylor, and Kyle at the other 3, so you feel really confident about those. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard.
Yeah. Is Mason Paris have any seeding points?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Now, you know what? He might. Because I think he did a rankings. Kozak.
Kozak, come on. Give us the deal here.
JD's digging as we speak.
All right. Yeah, I mean, because that would be obviously, because Gable obviously would not
10.
have. Gable Russell did nothing. So it actually would be helpful if he was, seated opposite people.
Yeah. Oh, Joe Franklin, I'm going to yell at you. All due respect. He said, everyone was so excited when Gable joined the WWE, which I never understood, Flow guys included. Well, this is a result. You like it now? No. I've only ever hated it. I've always hated it.
No, Christian, I remember saying you were so excited.
Be quiet. I've always hated it. You've trolled me about how much I hated it, and I hate it more now than ever. And I'm sorry. I want to watch him wrestle, real wrestling, not fake wrestling. He can do whatever he wants, but I don't have to like it, and I still don't like it, and I've never liked it less than I like it right now.
The only USA heavyweight with ranking series points is Hayden Zilmer at 13.
Oh, all right.
13 seed. That's a big one.
So, hey, read us the 1, 2, 3, and 4 real quick, just so we see, who's up there.
Akgul, number 1.
Yep.
Munkter, he's number 3. Petrashvili is number 2. And then the Hungarian is 4. Zare 5.
Zare. So they seed 8 now or no?
Yes.
All right. So I'm cheering for us to end up on the 2-3 side.
Amar Desi is 7.
Let's end up there.
Yeah.
Paris is gonna beat Desi.
Yeah, he is. I'm worried about anyone with a really good gut wrench against Mason. That'll scare me a little bit.
Oh, yeah. It's valid.
So hopefully we're all right there. I know for a fact Mason has been preparing every step of the way as if he'd be the guy. It's been known for months this was an option. This is not something where Mason's like, oh, I'm going. This has been on the radar for a while. And the Michigan staff and USA staff have been keeping Mason ready. And he is ready.
Yeah.
And he's good. I mean, this is a guy, if you don't know Mason's sort of ledger in freestyle, he's a junior world champion. He beat Zare, the Iranian, by pin. And you can say, well, since that time. Yeah, you could say since that time, but it's better than the alternative, being pinned by Zare. And so, it's good.
Valid observation, Christian.
Well, people just want to be dismissive of a result that I find to be totally relevant, and say it's irrelevant. And you know what? I thought he did a good job at Final X against Gable too.
Yes.
Compared to the U.S. Open. So
yeah, sad we don't get to see Gable. Hopefully Mason Paris does well. I think there's a potential of him. I think there is a really potential of him doing really well. Obviously, I could see him losing to a Zare or Petrashvili. I could see him losing to all those guys. So hopefully he establishes himself, places top 5, qualifies the weight, and we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. Mason's, yeah. You feel he's a great backup option, right? And I feel like he's clearly our number 2 as well. And he had to beat some good guys to earn that distinction, right? Not just the Great American Hero. He had to beat Nick Wisdowski, who had been a previous foil of his. So I like it. I like that part of it. I dislike every other aspect of it. So yeah, big doings, and it does sound like he is planning to come back for college. We'll see.
That's what's crazy. I mean, to answer that one question, I kind of gave my take on why those two things are going together. Can you give what you think about that?
Well, there's financial incentive for him to come back. He obviously commands a lot of money in the NIL, whether it's Minnesota or otherwise. So I think he's going to be compensated. I think that's a big reason. I think for the reasons you said, I think it's just a lot easier for him to manage his schedule doing college wrestling versus,
but the counterpoint to that, Christian, is he would only be doing one more event here, a singular event, right?
True, but I mean, I think being gone the better part of a month is just something that the WWE maybe wouldn't tolerate, whereas he could still be training every week. WWE, which I don't even know what that means to train WWE, but acting classes or improv.
You're gonna get beat up like that reporter. I keep warning you.
What do you mean? What is it?
Remember the reporter that got smacked?
Don't act like you know what they do at WWE practice.
I know, I was there.
What do they do at WWE practice? I'm saying genuinely, I don't know what they could possibly be. What they do there.
Well, obviously. While they are, I don't know what the proper terminology is, because I'm not trying to get smacked. I mean, I could fight back a little better than you, I think, but
that's debatable.
That dude reporter got smacked up a little bit, John Stossel.
I'm faster, so I'm way less likely to get hit then.
So there's obviously routines or choreographs, and the way the moves work together, right? And if they don't have the timing and the pressure and the balance correct, they're going to get jacked up a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. These are high-flying, aggressive moves. So I'm sure they're figuring out how do we do these maneuvers where we're not seriously injuring our opponent or partner, opponent, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Right?
Got it. Injury prevention.
Probably getting critiqued on their. I know they actually have. They actually had I can't remember what it's called, but they went in and they practiced their promos like just in front of a blank. It was just like kind of a box almost,
Mm-hmm.
And then the WWE people would watch them and give them feedback on their promos.
Monologues.
That's actually something I think the UFC should do, because promos sell, boy. I mean, if you got a guy who can cut a good promo, he'll go to the top so much faster than a guy who's silent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Big time.
Okay. So promo cutting, injury prevention, just a day in the WWE training center. Got it. Sounds super cool. All right, should we do tiers or just continue to not do them?
Do tiers.
I kind of like
actually someone was bullying you on Twitter because I guess last year, you keep saying it's so early, but last year I guess we started way earlier than this year.
Yeah, I guess we ran out of stuff to talk about earlier in the summer. We just had a summer rife with topics, I suppose.
Yeah. I think that must have been the case because, last summer, and maybe it was just the way the events fell, or obviously we were both traveling a lot, so maybe it had something to do with that. But, we did not, we didn't get to them.
Yeah, it could be also, there's just so much news, with transfers and coaching changes, and even, I felt like just a more active news cycle for freestyle this spring, summer, so maybe that was part of it as well. But anyway, why don't we kick it to JD? Why don't you just set this up how you want to do it, explain tiers, and, we can start.
Love it.
For those
My favorite segment of the year, I think.
I don't know why you love tiers so much. They are fun, but favorite, it is kind of crazy. But for those of you who
What's your favorite segment then, JD?
I don't know. Maybe just predicting actually where they'll finish, or predicting matches or something like that.
I kind of like tiers a lot too.
Tiers is fun because if you have not
go.
watched this show for the past handful of years, tiers is where we slot guys into, and this kind of gets weird sometimes with tiers, but where they fit. So if we think number 1, 2, and 3 could all kind of beat each other, but number 4, 5, and 6 can't, those are two separate tiers. But sometimes we get what we call next topic, where number 1 is far and away better than the rest of the competition, and he's on a tier by himself, etc., etc. And we go weight by weight. So we're gonna get to the first couple weights today, and these we're using John Kozak and my's preseason rankings, weight by weight. So starting with 125, we got Matt Ramos, number 1, Anthony Noto 2, Richie Figueroa at 3, Eddie Ventresca 4, Eric Barnett 5, Steve Opuyan 6, Brett Unger 7, Jacob Camacho 8, Dean Peterson 9, and Pat McKee 10. We'll kind of start there. I don't know how deep into these tiers we want to get. Normally deep, but what do we do, like 3?
Yeah, 3. I think for this
3
one,
tiers.
I feel like for 125, we're not going to have as many tiers. I think we're going to have some
Because there's a
megas.
huge...
So 125 is the craziest. I think it'll be the craziest weight this year because someone could come in and just be the man all year long.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be very tumultuous throughout. So my
100%.
tier 1 has 4 guys.
Whoa.
Matt Ramos, Anthony Noto, Jacob Camacho, and Richard Figueroa.
Ooh, I thought someone was going to leave Figueroa off, and I was thinking he is probably absolutely tier 1 until proven otherwise.
He beat Matt Ramos. He did not lose. He's getting better. I think his why I like Richie, one, he is a winner and he has won a lot of matches. His defense is going to keep him in everything. He's solid on the mat. He can really ride when he needs to.
Yep.
I just think he has a couple different ways to win. I think he needs to find more points. I think he can be a little too content to win a grinding, slower paced match, and I think that could be a little different. I feel like every one of these guys, except maybe Camacho, has like a pretty clear like hole. And also a pretty clear dynamite weapon. Matt Ramos is fearless.
Dynamite.
He can score in bunches.
That was kind of like a Piles. That was kind of like a Shane Sparks term.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it. But Ramos can score from space, upper body, just kind of high flying. Noto is so good on top. Camacho can kind of wrestle from everywhere. He's really good on his feet. He can counter wrestle. He's good on top. I know we haven't seen him much, but we saw him at the U.S. Open. He was solid there. Beat Patrick Glory. He's a guy where if you look at his wins over his career, he's got a lot of good ones. He's beaten Jack Mueller, right? So I feel he might be my pick, honestly, to win it all with a gun to my head. But I feel you could, and I'll say one last thing I'll say about tier 1 here. Is you could make a case for so many of these guys to be in this tier. You could say right now, Michael D'Agostino at Big Ten's majored Matt Ramos. How do you not have him tier 1? Fair.
I was going to bring that up. You didn't mention it. I was going to bring it up.
It's been mentioned now. There's a lot. Patrick McKee can beat any of these guys. Fair. Yeah. But Pat didn't have that kind of year last year. We were kind of always waiting. Is it going to happen? Is he going to be that guy? And we never saw that guy, even at NCAAs when we thought we might. I feel that way about a lot of these guys. I mean, who knows what Robbie Howard can do? Who knows what Drake Ayala can do? Caleb Smith was like a 4 or 5 seed, and now he's going to Nebraska. He was great at App State, but couldn't put it together in NCAAs. I think he could do well. He's a guy with really good wins. So, listen, that's my 4. I feel the strongest about it, but it's not airtight.
You know what I want to do here? So, because you attacked it right away, and I was going to say in certain situations we've made 4 or 5 tiers if there's an archipelago, right? If there's one person and there's another person and there's only 2 people on tier 1 and 2. This one we might do some geography history here. This one might be like Pangaea when it's all just jammed together and there's only one tier because all these dudes can beat each other.
It's pronounced
you guys
Pangea.
Remember that?
It's pronounced
all
Pangea.
The landmass was in one part, Christian. I don't know if you know this.
Okay, yeah, but it's not called Pangaea. It's called Pangea.
That's what it's called.
No, it's called Pangea.
No, Gaia.
I've always heard Gia. But you are the geography major.
Google it.
He's a geology major. All he knows about
is geography. Although geology is more about plate tectonics and stuff, geography talks about it a little bit, but that's more geology. Anyways, I think, dude, I look at this list and I'm like, yeah, Patrick McKee can beat any of these dudes. D'Agostino literally at 12 majored the number 1 guy, Matt Ramos. And to me, what tiers is all about is where is the separation, right? Where's the separation between these people? And it's like I could go all the way down to Brandon Kaler, I don't have his wrestling stat up, but I know he beat some of these top-ranked dudes. A guy like Eddie Ventresca was like 27 going into NCAs. Like, how am I going to separate Eddie Ventresca up? Like, I don't think I want to do that, you know? I literally feel like these guys are just one bunch, and yes, they may separate during the course of the year. Yeah, he actually did lose. Ventresca lost to Brandon Kaler. They might separate as the year moves on. Ventresca lost to everybody. Unger, Smith, he's losing to everybody. So they might separate, but I feel like it's one chunk.
You're just going
So
one
let's say
chunk.
15. How about that?
You're going a group. This is the most pointless tiers ever. Then.
That's what I said.
That's ridiculous. That is the most cowardly.
Pangea, whatever you guys want to call it.
That's
I
the
don't care.
biggest cop out,
It's a-
weakest. How about a little discernment? There's going to be some separation here, and you know what? You got Ben Askren on the show, this self-proclaimed greatest wrestling mind. You hear it all the time. He has this level, and he can't. He looks at both watching these guys wrestle and looks at all the results. You cannot discern any difference for 15 guys.
Even a Kyson Tarantino, like
indiscernible.
He beat Barnett. He's had some other really good wins. He's had some not so good things also, right? Like most of these guys. But if you told me
we
he
had
finished
Shane
really high
Sparks
in
on the
stages
show.
this year, I'm really not all that surprised.
I didn't think Shane was here, saying anyone can beat anyone any given day.
Well,
You
we've
just
only
get
got
to-
through one weight. You know,
You're sparking
honestly,
it hard.
I'm going archipelago at 133. So,
Oh my goodness.
You know,
JD, restore order to this.
So did you literally just put the top 15 dudes?
He
no,
literally
I think it was actually 18. I think
he
I went all the way down
begged for
to 13,
he
yeah.
begged for tears for weeks and then refuses to even participate.
Well, I'm doing it correctly. You guys are doing it
no,
incorrectly
no,
for
you're
the
doing
sake
it
of the
incorrectly.
segment.
No. There is separation. You cannot deny there is separation.
Oh, you just lazy. You mailed it
Between
in.
number-
Mailed
Separate
it
it
in.
for me. Separate
Number
them for me.
one
I
and number
will, whatever
18.
argument you come up with,
You have
I
to draw
will,
the line somewhere.
I will take apart that argument.
And it's not just, am I shocked that this guy beats this guy? It's, no, there is separation between
Yeah, that's
these
what.
two.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Clear separation. Make it for me.
I mean, I think there is clear separation between the top 3 guys and number 15, 16, 17, 18.
Look, you need to look at some of the losses for some of these guys too.
I mean, I just looked at number 2, Anthony Noto. You want to know who he lost to last year?
Yes.
Tucker Owens, Malik Heinzelman. Now tell me he's a clear tier 1 again.
With this weight, he is a clear
Yeah,
tier 1.
yeah. I didn't hear it on either one of you.
I've already said it. It's been declared.
No, he's not. Guys, he lost it. Okay. Tucker Owens, he's a great American. I'm sure he's at the Air Force Academy. But you lost to Tucker Owens. You don't get to be tier 1. I'm sorry.
I mean,
You lost to Malik Heinzelman, not tier 1. Sorry. Malik Heinzelman, really good wrestler, not tier 1 guy.
Okay.
There is separation, though, between the top couple guys because when I look at it preseason, I see I'm going to draw the line. It is tough to draw the line, though.
Ha! Yes! Now, admit it. It's tough to draw the line. You know what? I'll draw a line for you. Ready for this?
I can see Matt Ramos, Noto, Figueroa in the NCAA finals.
Okay.
I just don't
You can't see Camacho?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm not.
I could see Camacho before. Camacho's going to be my pick.
All right, I'll draw a line for you.
I don't know if
you
I
guys
can
ready
see
for this?
Braxton
If you
Brown.
want to draw a line, the only one that you can make real good sense of, Richard Figueroa and Matt Ramos, tier 1.
Okay. Well, why not Camacho?
Camacho, he didn't even compete last year, correct?
He was hurt. I think tore his ACL. So Trombley was
So
in last
we'll
year.
leave him as a question mark because we haven't seen him in quite a while. But yeah, I mean,
beat Patrick Glory
he has
in-
a strong
in
argument.
April.
And let's see, his only losses, I believe, are really good ones. Let me look. Barnett, Glory, Latona, Spencer Lee. He has a Noah Certain loss. And I don't know. I think that maybe pulls him out. Unless you want to put Noah Certain tier 1, which I'm okay with that.
I
You
think
can't
you
just
already
put
did.
everybody who beat somebody in a tier in that
Okay,
tier.
guys, what is tiers? Tiers is separation where we know. Okay, let's just go to 133 so I can provide an example. If I told you if I told you that Brody Teske beat Vito Arujau, or Brody Teske beat Dayton Fix,
Yes, we
like,
all understand.
how did that happen?
We all understand that different weights have different thresholds for separation, and 33 is a weight that has more very obvious separation.
No, I got standards here. I got standards for my separation.
No, I'd say you have no.
You're
standards.
like JD on a late night in Cardi, no standards.
I think that hit close to home. Yeah, no, this is 33 is so much easier.
Yeah, but so why are we going to relax the standards? I mean, I think I guess I could see an argument for Camacho also, because it has been a year, and besides a certain loss, he had 0 bad losses in the 2022 season.
Mm-hmm.
But Figueroa actually had no losses. He's had some close matches, and even Ramos has had some not so great losses. We mentioned he got majored by D'Agostino at the second to last tournament of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Second to last tournament. It wasn't like he got majored in November and then turned it around. He got majored at Big Tens. So it's really hard for me to say, oh yeah.
He also lost to Anthony Moulton.
Butt kicked.
He lost to Anthony Moulton as well.
Yeah, I didn't even bring that one up.
Yeah.
Anthony Moulton. I
think Moulton was at least a qualifier, right?
He has a Sour Patch Kids tattoo, Anthony Moulton.
How do you know something like that?
Who do you think gave it to him?
Did not give it to him.
I don't know.
It's It's like on his shoulder. It's very visible.
Yeah.
Sour Patch Kids, I don't even know what their logo looks like. I'd have to look that one up.
You don't know what Sour Patch Kids are?
Well, I know what they are. They're a candy that is like really sour and chewy, right? But do you know what their logo is?
It's a picture of the candy, basically.
Yeah, isn't it the little bears? Wait, they're not bears. What are they? They're just little
catchers.
I don't know.
There's kids.
They're probably Sour Patch Kids.
You're just eating tasty sour children. It's great.
You know what, Ben? I think you've talked me into a very large.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah!
That's how I know.
I'm not getting as crazy as you. I'm drawing the line after number 12, Michael D'Agostino.
Yes.
But
take that, Piles.
But I am tossing Jory Volk up in there with them.
Why Jory Volk?
I think he's just posed for a big year.
I mean,
he was the one guy I was going to kick out of that tier.
Look, he wrestled. He went right away.
I mean, he beat D'Agostino.
He did go right away.
He beat D'Agostino.
He was close to All-American
beat Tucker Owens
this year too.
I don't know, man. He got pinned by Whitcraft. You can say that about almost all these dudes. I can't say anyone else got Major 10-1 by Eli Griffin.
That's the past. This is now.
Caleb Piles'
defense.
Right there. Yeah, he's got some toughies. I like Jory. Hey, what weight's Spratley going?
I assume 25.
Oh,
he's another guy.
He might be in tier 1.
But until I've seen more of Volk than I have of Spratley, just including like U20 World Championships and stuff like that. So as of right now, I'm putting Spratley in tier 2.
Oh, for sure.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Spratley.
He got Certain as well.
He got pinned by Certain and he got beat by Nico Provo.
That's not bad, but nothing to.
He beat D'Agostino in overtime, though, I guess.
By injury default.
But it's so it's tied going into overtime, right? And then he got hurt in overtime somehow. He beat Braxton Brown. Yeah, he's gonna be tough. I don't know exactly what tier he'll land in, but he's tough.
Yeah.
Are there any other true or redshirt freshmen that we're not considering that could hop? Because this is a weight where, it's not like a 97 where you're like, oh my God, it would be so hard for a true freshman to pop in here and do well.
Yeah.
Right? This is a weight where you're like, a true freshman could definitely hop in here and wrestle hard.
But is there one that's even...
No.
I remember looking at the recruiting classes, and it didn't seem like there was anyone really that's going to threaten there.
I don't think so.
Nor I. Yeah, I could honestly be talked out of... I'll say this. I could be talked out of Noto in tier 1 and could slide him down and just leave it Figueroa, Camacho, and Ramos. And I would feel good about that, too. So, you're right. in that part, on the Noto part. But I think there is separation there. It's not as easy as Dayton Fix and Vito Arujau versus the 33 field, but a discerning eye can separate these guys. Do you want to go to 33?
I'm looking through. Kale Hughes probably too big
to
make 25. Correct.
Oh well, there is no tier 2 if everyone's in tier 1.
Well, no, hold on. I'm just looking real quick at the big board. So Kale Hughes, Sergio Lemley, man, there are really Mark Anthony McGowan is the highest ranked little guy at 21. He's really tough, but he will obviously go right away because Princeton doesn't redshirt.
Mm-hmm.
Could he make a difference? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So my tier 2 revised: Noto, Ventresca, Barnett, Poulin, Unger, Peterson, McKee, Ayala, D'Agostino, Smith. Not necessarily in that order, but that is kind of the order of rankings. And then tier 3, I have Kaylor Brown, Jory Volk, Noah Certain, Kyson Terrakina, Ryan Miller, Nick Babin, and I'll throw Robbie Howard in there, even though he's an unknown to a degree, but he's someone I could definitely see in tier 2 if healthy for the full year. But that's something we haven't seen since 2021. So,
I mean, how long has this guy? He's had 3 years of college, but
he has like 4 years left.
2 years have had 0 matches.
I think he has 4 years left too, Ben.
Because a red shirt and a Olympic red shirt, and the first year would have been that is the wildest thing ever right there.
Injury, it would be an injury year, a medical year last year.
Yeah. Corona year, red shirt year, injury year.
Yeah, 4 years to go, 4 more years. So, we could be seeing a lot of Robbie. Hopefully we do, for his own sake and health. But yeah, I think you put Robbie at tier 3. And honestly, all these guys, if the tier 2 guys, if one of them snuck in the finals, like I'm not shocked either. But I do feel pretty certain in those top 3. So that's my tiers.
Yeah. Am I gonna stick to my guns and go just a big old tier 1, or will I separate?
There's no
so for me, the 2 are either just one big tier that you guys hated, but now I think you guys kind of like it a little bit now, or Ramos, Figueroa, and Camacho. I'm gonna put Camacho up there. Yeah. Camacho really only had one bad loss. I'll do that. I'll go Ramos, Figueroa, Camacho, tier 1, and then tier 2 just. We'll go all the way down to Terrakina.
So you literally came up with my tier 1 after all is said and done.
You had Noto in there as well.
Listen,
I tossed him out before
vice versa. Let's just state
rewind
that
the
for
tape.
The record.
Rewind the tape. I threw Noto out of tier 1. And
after I made the argument.
Yeah, but you still had Mega tier 1 at that point.
I had Pangea.
You know what? That's not how it's pronounced. I'm almost certain. How do?
I'm sticking with big tier 1. I'm giving a rip.
Look, Pangea. Here it says. Hold on. Look, here's the actual thing.
Okay, let's hear it. Can you say it?
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Play.
Pangea.
All right, fine. I'll change it. I'll change it for you guys to make you guys happy.
It doesn't. It would make me happy if you didn't say that, and I don't want you to embarrass yourself because you're a very smart guy.
I don't get embarrassed very easily.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good quality to have, I think.
Usually pretty, especially when you talk on the radio for a living or whatever we want to call this. This is not the radio.
Yeah.
You're gonna say some stupid things once in a while.
Oh yeah.
You got to get over it.
Yeah. No big deal. All right. Do we want to do 133?
Let's hit 133.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this is tough.
I'll lead because I already told you mine. I got Vito 1, I got Fix 2, and then I'll go down to we'll go Cannon for 3. So Nagao down to Cannon for 3.
Wait. So you're saying Vito totally by himself, Dayton totally by himself, and then Nagao. So you would be stunned if Aaron Nagao beat Dayton Fix?
Oh, actually, I wouldn't.
Okay. I didn't think
Don't
so.
forget, he transferred.
That's what I thought.
So is it Vito tier 1 or is it Vito?
No,
Dayton,
I think
Aaron,
I
tier
think
1?
I am going to go. I'm going to go Vito tier 1, and I will go. There is separation. I mean, we're talking a guy. Aaron Nagao has one All-American to his name,
In one
which is
season.
a 5th place finish, and Dayton Fix has 3 seconds and a 4th. So yes, I'm going to say that is separation. Is there a possibility that Nagao gets better? Yes, but I think Dayton at this point would be a pretty heavy favorite in that matchup. Say that was the semifinal, right? Which at current seeding it is.
Well,
Do you give him a Penn State bump?
well, I think more than just a Penn State bump, it's you look at the trajectory this guy was on outside of any school. He was someone who at the end of the year was just coming on in a way. We were not talking about Aaron Nagao. And then it was very obvious that the Big Ten hold on, one person.
Okay, go for it.
It's very, very obvious that like he was on a growth trajectory that was like putting him in conversations he wasn't in previously the year. So if that trajectory just continues for a year at Penn State, I think he's due at least another slight bump, which I think puts him in dogfights with Dayton. Sorry,
Okay.
Ben.
So I think that the factor that we're negating here, or you are, because I guess I'm not, is the unknown, right? There weren't a lot of people scouting and watching Aaron Nagao. He's a very, very specific style, and once you make yourself known like that, and then every college coach is watching you, you either better be able to wrestle a bunch of different styles, or you're going to become less effective because every single person is going to know what you're going to do.
That's a very fair point. Very fair point. So so part of me does feel like, man, you watch Vito's NCAA tournament and you're like, how is anyone going to beat this guy? But then this guy, he lost to our boy Sam Latona, and that I don't think you can discount that. And I'm just not. I'm also now at the NCAA tournament, and also Latona gave him his toughest match of all NCAAs. He was like either winning or tied, sort of late in that match. And then I'm also like, if Dayton beats Vito Arujau to become an NCAA champion, I don't think my mind is blown there either. And I don't
know, Christian. What about the fact that? What about this? So after Vito did what he did at the NCAAs, then he went up and backed it up at the U.S. Open and murdered everyone. Then he went and backed it up and beat Nishan twice.
Yeah,
like that's kind of what makes me feel way more secure in that. If it was the one tournament, I would feel similar to you, but it was that. He did what he did at the Open. He did what he did at Final X, and that cemented it for me.
And maybe for Vito, he's a guy that is on a trajectory too. That like he's continuing to get better, right? I think that's pretty fair to say. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, the guy's on the freaking world team. We just take that for granted anymore. That like that's really kind of a crazy thing. But I'm looking at it, and I have a hard time saying he's separated enough that I can't see anyone knocking him off. You know?
Yes.
Even someone as great as Vito.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that is is going to be really weird here is, like, what do these guys do? Because I guess at this point, we're assuming both of them are going to try to wrestle 57 for the Olympic trials, which is set to be less than a month after the NCAAs. How does that affect them? Do one of them change weights? Do one of them Olympic red shirt? Because these are both guys who have been on a world team who would think have a legitimate chance of making the Olympic team. That one to me is an interesting question. I don't think either one of them has stated a very clear answer.
No, definitely not. I have a hard time in that. I try to go by what's been seen, and we've seen Nagao be good, but we haven't seen him notch a win on this level yet. And I think I want to go. Here's what I want to do. I want Vito Dayton tier 1, and I think Nagao Latona. I think there's sort of have some separation, but then again, Kyorini, like Latona's had some losses last year, so I don't know. It could be a big tier 2. With a lot of those guys, I don't know. How are you viewing that, JD?
I think there is separation after Latona. But when I think about my tier 1, obviously Vito.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I include Dayton because I'm like you where I could predict it right now, no, but I mean, it's Dayton Fix. He can win an NCAA title. There's a scenario where he beats Vito if he's wrestling really good. But then at the same time, I'm like, there's a scenario where I see a year better, a Penn State Aaron Nagao beat Dayton Fix.
Yeah, I mean, lost to McGee, which is probably not something we wouldn't have put Mikhail McGee in Dayton's tier.
Although
last year.
that McGee, I mean, I would love to see McGee wrestle some freestyle because that McGee Vito match you guys hosted was freaking awesome.
Insane. Yeah.
That match was so
match.
good, and honestly, I would venture to say, like, if McGee would have made one little adjustment or something, like, he could have very easily won that match.
Yeah. You know, looking at Latona's year, he had a really solid year, but he took some losses.
Yeah, he did. You want me to read him for you? I got him.
He lost to Mendez. He lost to Oreen. He lost to Mickey Philippi. He lost to Dylan Ragusin, Jason Shaner, and Vito.
He takes these losses, but I feel like
and
he has
one
Pat
more.
Phillips,
You missed one big
Pat
one
Phillips. Yeah.
Pat Phillips.
Yep.
I think he has a higher ceiling than, say, you know, some of these guys like
Yes.
7, 8, 9, 10 range, just based off of how good we have seen him be. So does that qualify him to be in a higher tier, the ceiling, or do we know he's got a very low floor, so that puts him in a lower tier?
Man, if I told you, hey, November 1st, Lucas Bird and Sam Latona are gonna wrestle, are you feeling like, oh yeah, look, that's Sam? Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I think that is, I mean,
Not at all.
not at all, right? So I
Yes.
think the more I'm looking at it, the more I think he needs to be with those other guys. And is Nagao on his own, or is Nagao has Nagao earned that separation?
He's earned separation from your Latona's, Arenas, McGonigal.
You think?
I know he took some.
I don't
losses,
know.
but
So let's look at it. Let's zoom in a little bit. And we can't just. I want us to avoid that. Well, he's at Penn State now, so every wrestling problem is now
Penn State
solved.
homer Christian Piles.
And you know there's a case that could be made there. So he lost to Dayton. He lost to Braden Palmer via pinfall at the Scuffle.
Do we know what happened in that match, or I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure he
that
got cradle. Braden's got a really good cradle series, if I recall. He lost to Chris Cannon. These are fine losses. Lost to RBY, and Dayton. So to me, that
and he was
feels
also
like,
in overtime with Berwick, and he was also in overtime with Birds. So and overtime Mendez. That was a great match. So I think so. What I think, Christian, is that
big tier two.
I talked about this is obviously no one's going to want to go under bottom because he's a beast on top, right? And so they're going to try to pick their spots offensively because he is not dynamic offensively, and that would be the one thing that I think is maybe a big takeaway.
All right, you want to hear mines?
Go for it.
I got it. Okay. This has been good. This has been helpful for me. So my tier 1 is Vito and Dayton. I feel okay with this. My tier 2, Aaron Nagao, Sam Latona, Kai Orini, Connor McGonigal, Lucas Bird, Chris Cannon. So kind of big. But I feel like with Cannon, we've seen some absolute flashes, despite,
Yes.
I mean, he beat Nagao.
He's All-American before, though, right?
Yeah, and he beat Nagao last year.
Yes.
And then I went Bouzakis, Biscaglia, Kolioko, Teskey, Palmer, kind of on down is sort of that tier 3.
I could get down with that. Yeah, because Bouzakis has not proved himself, so I could get him out of that tier. Biscaglia has been a solid guy, but I don't think he's had any upper tier wins. Without looking it up, that's what I think he's got. Say.
I think he beat Dylan Ragusin. I think that's his big win. Let me look it up.
Right, and Ragusin was a guy who was kind of hit or miss. Also,
he's tier 2 or 3 for sure.
Is Ragusin still got eligibility?
Yeah, several years.
Mm-hmm.
Several. What?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. So he's got wins over Kolioko. I mean, that's a solid win.
Solid.
He lost to Reading twice. Lost to Lamont. Oof. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely taking Biscaglia out of my. He was tier 3 for me. I'm going to take him out.
He did beat. He beat Cannon and Ragusan and Shaner. Or no, not Shaner. But he beat those other two at Vegas.
He had a great CKLB.
Yeah, I remember that. So that's solid. But yeah, I mean, I feel okay with Biscaglia at tier 3.
For sure.
With Kolioko and Bouzakis and Teskey and Palmer, like I feel that's definitely his peer group.
So I like what you did there with your tier 2, but I'm gonna make that my tier 3. So I'm gonna go Vito 1, Fix 2. I'll take your tier 2 as my tier 3, and then we're moving Bouzakis, Biscaglia, and Kolioko down to that following tier, which is 4 for me.
Yeah. I don't like the tier 1 island, tier 2
I like
island
archipelago.
thing.
It's called an archipelago when we have a series of small islands.
Is that what it's called?
You know that? You heard that?
Well, when do we get to at 141? Do we get to an isthmus?
Isthmus. Well, that would be all connected. So
that was your
tier.
tier.
Like a really narrow.
That was your 125.
That Madison's got an isthmus actually.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's big for.
Yeah, I don't think isthmus play in this game.
Okay, no isthmus. I feel like your 125 was an isthmus.
Nah, that was more of a. They're all jammed together because they could just mix.
Oh no, that was the Pangea. That's right.
Yeah,
that was Pangea.
I'm never gonna hear Pangea again and not think Pangea.
Pangea.
I am agreeing with. I think I'm copying CP's tiers with Vito and Dayton, tier 1, Nagao, Latona, Arini, McGonagall, Bird, Cannon 2, Bouzakis, Biscaglia, Kolioko, Teskey, Palmer.
I don't think there will be an easier tiering. Well, maybe there will be, but as I look at this, the more I look at it, the more I love it, JD. The more I feel.
I tiered it on Nagao quite a bit, on maybe even making them in tier 2 island, but I don't think so.
I think you need to base it on what's seen a little bit, and not just totally. Now he's at this place, and yeah, he could win it. No doubt. He's a national champion caliber talent,
contender.
But can he do it next year against those guys? I think you need to see a little bit more to put him in that group.
Yes.
He's going to score a lot of points, though. He's going to score a lot of points. Okay, it's 9:18. Let's get to some questions. This was fun, though.
Yes. I agree. I can't wait for some more tiers.
All right, let's see some other questions. With the recent buzz around Deion Sanders in Colorado, I feel Ben could do that similar or even more impactful things if he went on to coach college. Is that something he would consider if, say, U of Wisconsin offered? If not, is it something Max would take up?
Max is a hell no.
So Max, because we mentioned this before about you going to Missouri, but that would screw Max. And then someone was like, well, Max would come with him. Is Max just have zero interest in ever coaching in college?
Yeah, Max has this thing where I don't really know why. Sometimes I think he builds up things in his head, but he says like he doesn't want to babysit a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, that's part of the job, right? But, in a little bit, we don't have responsibility for the kids we coach, but a little bit we do. Because if they're out there acting like idiots and doing idiot things, they're not going to have the success they want in wrestling, right? So we kind of a little bit, in a roundabout way, do have responsibility for the way they're living their lives. And I feel the same way about the 18 and 22-year-olds. And, yeah, there's a little bit of hassle. I mean, my biggest holdup would be that I'm not leaving Wisconsin, right? So there's only one option if I were to do that. And even that would be like I'm not so sure if I want to or not. I would have to, if it were to open, I would have to explore it. But would be like just the bureaucracy, right? It's so great being my own boss at AWA and doing exactly what I want to do. But then obviously there is a draw to like coach at the highest level of folk style wrestling. And I mean, Kale needs someone to challenge him. He's kind of going to win too easy. He needs someone who can kind of get on his level. And so I would love that challenge.
So, what are you saying right now?
I said it. I said I would consider it.
Okay. Well, dang, that would be pretty interesting.
Like literally just like 2 weeks ago, you said you would not.
Yeah, that's what
That's what
I
I
was.
said. I think I probably said the exact same thing that I said now.
Well,
I said I probably don't think. I said I don't know if I'm hireable because, especially at Madison, it's kind of a liberal institution, right? And at this point, even moderate things you say on Twitter, and I've said plenty of them, are like, that guy said some wild stuff, and it's like, well, I said like, masks don't work, even though there's 27 studies that say they didn't work at all. Right? People are still like, hey, that's crazy. And I'm like, well, but here's the studies. Nope, crazy. Right? So, like, I don't know if I'm hireable or not.
I'm guessing you're still hireable, Ben.
yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of actually a little with Ben that would honestly be a sticking point. And also, like, Ben probably wouldn't. I don't know. Would you change?
No.
Yeah, I mean, like, do I need... And I guess, do I need to, like, post everything I feel on Twitter? Like, I think it's important to say what I feel. I don't know, but, like, I actually don't think I say anything that outlandish. And I think if, like, everything, every once in a while I'll poke, right, just to kind of bug people just because I think it's funny, and that's it. So could I tone down that a little bit? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I could see you get on somewhere and then just a movement starts just because that just kind of is the way. People like to.
People are wild. I mean, people have. It's. I think it's honestly with a lot of these people, it's because they have nothing better to do in their lives, and they see somewhere they can have an impact, and they just like they want to feel power because they have no power, and they know like. I mean, the mask thing was the worst, right? Because it was like all of a sudden every single person who has power because they can say, here are the rules. You need to abide by the rules, right? And generally in life, you have to do a lot of like correct things before you get power, right? Because if you're nobody, you come get out of high school, you're nobody, right? No one's going to listen to you because you haven't earned it, and you have to earn power, right? That's how you get to the top organizations because people trust you, they believe in you, you make positive impact, and then you climb ladders, right? And then you have power, and everyone wants power. And all of a sudden, when they put in these arbitrary rules, all of a sudden every single person had power, right? And you saw these flight attendants just being insane. I mean, I remember I got a fight on one of the NCAAs because she said, you need to put your mask up. I said, well, I'm drinking a coffee. How fast would you like me to put it up? And she said, you need to put it up. I said, well, I'm allowed to drink. So, like, how long would you like me to be able to drink sips? It's just ridiculous, arbitrary rules that we all had to deal with because everyone who probably shouldn't have had power had power.
Yeah, that was definitely the question.
How long between sips, Christian? Just tell me. I'll abide by your stupid rules as long as you make sense. Tell me.
I think 4 seconds is reasonable.
Or
Well, they serve it too hot. You have to drink a little slower than you would.
I mean, geez Louise, 4 seconds. It was like, and part of it was like, well, I got a phone in this hand, I got a coffee in this hand. I ain't got no hands to move up my mask, but I suppose I'll put my phone down if you tell me like I got like 15 seconds or something. Well, I'll put my phone down for a second and put it up because you have dumb rules, whatever.
Right on.
The worst ones now, Christian, these people who still wear masks. There's no rules. They still wear masks. There's one at the comedy show the other day, right? And they sit down, they got their masks on. Okay, whatever. You got your theatrics. I got it. But then they just take it down and start eating food. Or there was one on the plane the other day, wore a mask on, but then she's sitting next to me. She just takes it off and starts talking to me. I'm like, wait, I'm so confused. You had a mask on, but now you're just like sitting here just conversing with your mask off. Like, what are we doing here?
Detroit style pizza is number one. Asks, what's the gang's thought?
What are we doing? What? Make some sense Make any sense for me.
Listen,
this is why I might not be able to be a coach because I need things to make sense. I can't just fake it and pretend.
Yeah, you're not going to go along to get along, which I appreciate and also commiserate with. But I'll move along to the next question because I think this is funny. What's the gang's thoughts on Crocs? I'll tell you what. Caleb Piles is a Croc enthusiast. He got his first pair. He can't stop talking about these freaking rubber shoes and the little things the little pegs he puts in. He can't wait to like show his friends this stuff. He thinks it's a big deal. I've never owned a pair, to be honest.
They're very popular right now.
They are. Crocs are big. I feel like JD should have some, but I've never seen you in them.
I used to have Crocs. I haven't had a pair for a couple of years.
I feel like you're gonna wear Crocs to your wedding. Dress Crocs, obviously.
Yeah, Crocs are fine.
No strong opinion either way.
No strong opinion either way. You know, they're very mainstream now, so I can't be rocking Crocs. You know, too mainstream now.
Too mainstream.
Back in the day, though.
Okay, Ben.
They're a great hybrid shoe in terms of I want to go do some water activities, but also some land activities in a very quick timeline.
It's an amphibious shoe.
Yes,
and
that's what I'm looking for.
And that's rare. And that is rare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben.
I don't think I've ever owned a pair, but I can't say for certain that I have not. So I do not currently own a pair of Crocs.
What about your
no
children?
Intention of wearing them. All of the situations you guys would probably say you want to wear Crocs in, I would just say I'll do it without any shoes at all.
That's true. And then Mitchell Messenbrick will dunk on your feet for being disgusting.
Whatever. I bet Kyle Dake's got nappier feet than I do because he don't wear any shoes either.
But you've been in the no shoe game for a lot longer than Kyle.
You think so?
100%. Bro, you haven't been wearing shoes since
It's been a while. It's been a while. Maybe, I don't know, a decade, 20 years. Actually, I remember, you know what's fun? I'm going to do a throwback right here. In the very NCAAs, 2007, the week of, Martin has started Flow and came to Columbia, Missouri. And he filmed me. The films are probably still on Flow somewhere very deep in the archives, right? Mm-hmm. And this dude started yelling at me because I was playing disc golf barefoot. And I said, listen, I'm fine. You just let me do what I want. You're not my coach. You can't yell at me. And he's like, but you have NCAAs this week. I'm like, I don't give a damn. This is how I play disc golf. And I'm going to continue to play disc golf this way.
I know your feet were cold.
He was just looking out for you. Yeah,
no, it wasn't. It was beautiful out. It was a beautiful. I bet you can find it on the website somewhere. It was a beautiful day in Columbia, Missouri in March.
Okay, well then, yeah, that's fine. A lot of the Penn State guys are doing the grounded.
Are they?
Yeah, I talked to a lot of them. Shane Van Ness is like, yeah, I don't wear shoes to class.
Dang.
There we go.
He says, I will bring my.
They got Ben Askren style now.
It's like I will bring my shoes and put them on when I actually enter the building, but.
Okay. Next question.
I think it's so you can't do that during the winter. In cold places.
No. Yeah, that'd be brutal. My feet get cold. Okay. This will probably be our last question. Well, maybe not. I have a coaching question for you guys. Any good tricks to remember kids' names? I have a hard time remembering the kids that come in less frequently. I coach club. Lots of kids. Ben, do you remember every kid's name very easily?
You gotta know their damn names. I know every kid from almost every freaking academy. We got a ton of them. But
really?
Yeah, I know every kid.
I want to give you credit.
There's no excuse. You just need to say. Here's what I always say to people, and I say this to kids too. When they're making some lame ass excuse about why they can't do something, right? Something easy. I'm not saying like go be a national champ, right? I'm saying something easy, like remember some names. If I gave you $1 million, would you do it? And the answer is yeah, you would, right? Like I had some kids reading some books, right? And he's like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, if I gave you $1 million, would you read that book? And the answer is yeah, you would have. It would have been that first effing thing you did when you went home last week. You didn't do it because you don't care enough.
Yeah,
you need to care. It's freaking important. Do it.
Learn their names, EJ Newton.
EJ, get it done. Stop making excuses. If I gave you $1 million, you'd have every kid's name by tomorrow. Figure it out.
One thing I will say. I want to give Ben credit here, but I also think this could be one of those beautiful mind situations where Ben just automatically just remembers them reflexively.
No, it's not. It is not. I make a strong effort. Like there are certain times, like Tuesday, right? Tuesday we had our 5-year-old ninjas come in, and most of them are brand new because they're 5, and we don't let them come in before they're 5, right? And so there's certain kids, I'll go up to like them 4 times, like, what is your name again? What is your name? You know, and so it's like, and then at the beginning of each class with our 5-year-olds, I do attendance. And so I say name and then I look at their face. So I kind of like, so with our 5-year-olds, but with our high school kids, like, I know them all. I don't have to do that every class, you know? But yeah, I that is like, it's so important to me. And that's, I mean, we had our managers summit. It's so important that you know their names and you know who they are and you care enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you ever employ the nickname strategies?
Man, I had an assistant coach. He called every kid Spike. He's like, what's going on, Spike?
Who?
You don't know him.
Oh, okay. I thought you said.
He's an older guy.
Maybe some.
Yeah, that would probably be after a while, or unless some little kids. Some little kids are wild. I had this little 6-year-old. I think he was 5 or 6 last year. And one time, he's like, his name was Andrew, and I said Andrew, and he goes, "No, my name is Technoblade." I'm like, all right, I don't know what that means, but all right. So then I called him Technoblade because it was so hilarious. And then after a while, I was like, "No, my name's Andrew." I'm like, "Andrew, you made me call you Technoblade one day, so I am going to call you Technoblade because you made me do it. I tried calling you Andrew. You said no, Technoblade, and now your name is Technoblade. Deal with it."
That is incredible. As he grows, that's going to be even cooler and cooler.
It's like Rob Waller, one of the coaches Tyler and I stayed at his club this past week. He was talking to us like, yeah, one little kid come in and he had hair down to here, so I called him Hippie. His name was Hippie. Then one day he came in completely bald. I didn't even recognize him. His name was still Hippie.
Still Hippie.
You know who that happened with last week?
Who?
I went to Who's Number One on Thursday, and I was walking out, or Friday. I went Friday. I came and worked out, and I was leaving, and I saw this kid. I'm like, I knew that kid. Where do I know that kid from? I was looking at him. I was walking out in the parking lot. I'm like, I know this kid, But I couldn't figure it out. And then the next day, I realized Christian Castillo cut his hair.
Oh, yeah.
He looked totally different. Bro, I could not. I was trying to figure out who he was on Friday, and I could not figure it out. I knew him, but I didn't know who he was.
That was a man that really
crazy.
committed to the mullet lifestyle in a way few 8th and 9th graders are willing to.
Yes.
It was incredible commitment. I hope we see it again. But yeah, it definitely looked different, to be mulletless. But with that, it is time to go. This was a very fun show. We did tiers. It would have been funny to not do it, but I don't think we would have got a full show in otherwise. We could have made it happen. But it was fun.
Yeah. It was
We
fun.
had
We'll wait
Pangea.
next week.
We got a new outro song.
Ooh,
I don't know.
exciting.
Tyler's playing with it in his bag a little bit. We thank you guys so much. We'll be back Monday.
So, yeah.
Let's call it Monday.
Monday, we'll be back.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great, great, great weekend. And yeah, keep it on FloWrestling. A lot of great stuff coming. See ya.
Peace.
Yeah, I like this.